It happened without warning. On July 8, 2025, millions of Americans woke up to a reality that felt impossible. Walmart, the largest retailer in the US, had shut its doors. Every single one. Over 4,600 stores from Texas to Florida were shuttered overnight. The news spread like wildfire, confirmed by a brief statement from Walmart's headquarters in Bentonville, Arkansas. The largest private employer in the country had laid off its entire 1.6 million-strong workforce in a single night. The blue vests vanished, replaced by silence and locked doors. Shoppers found hastily posted signs, pharmacists scrambled for alternatives, truck drivers were turned away with nowhere to deliver. In small towns and rural communities, Walmart's closure felt like a lifeline being severed. The institution that anchored daily life for so many simply ceased to exist. This is the story of how that pillar crumbled, about global trade, political decisions, and the real-world consequences for ordinary people. We'll explore how it happened, who's affected, and what this crisis means for the future of the American economy. The shutdown of Walmart is more than a business headline, it's a national emergency, challenging our understanding of economic security. The void left behind extends far beyond the locked glass doors of thousands of abandoned stores. America is left to reckon with the fallout. To grasp the crisis, you must understand Walmart's scale. What began in 1962 as a single store in Arkansas became a core part of American infrastructure. For millions, it was the one-stop shop for groceries, clothing, prescriptions, and more, often the only source of affordable food in rural areas. Over 90% of Americans lived within 10 miles of a Walmart. As the country's largest private employer, it provided 1.6 million jobs and supported a vast network of suppliers and logistics companies. Walmart's low prices stretched family budgets and became a foundational expectation for consumers. Its sudden collapse is devastating because it was more than a store. It was a daily habit, a community hub, and an economic anchor. Now, with its doors locked, the nation confronts the risks of relying so heavily on a single giant. Walmart's low prices weren't just about efficiency. They were built on a global promise. By sourcing goods from China and other low-cost countries, Walmart created a supply chain that delivered endless variety at unbeatable prices. This global integration made Walmart the world's largest importer of Chinese goods, benefiting both American shoppers and Chinese manufacturers. But this deep reliance on China created a vulnerability. Walmart's business model depended on stable US-China trade. When that flow was disrupted, the entire system was at risk. The collapse exposed just how fragile that global promise really was. Walmart's collapse was the result of a slow-burning trade war between the US and China. Steep tariffs on Chinese imports made Walmart's low-cost model unsustainable. The company tried to absorb costs and shift sourcing, but China's scale was irreplaceable. A final wave of tariffs made importing core products impossible without massive price hikes or losses. Faced with financial ruin, Walmart's board chose a sudden shutdown over a chaotic bankruptcy. Ironically, policies meant to protect American jobs triggered the collapse of its largest employer. The language of tariffs has become a personal catastrophe for 1.6 million former Walmart employees. Maria Flores, a single mother in Arizona, lost her job overnight. No severance, no warning, just a text telling us not to come in. In towns across America, Walmart was the economic heart. Its loss ripples through local diners, salons, and small businesses. The shutdown's impact extends to basic necessities. Millions relied on Walmart pharmacies for affordable medications. In rural areas, the next closest pharmacy might be 30 miles away, turning inconvenience into a public health emergency. The human toll is everywhere. The overnight stalker who can't make his car payment, the family facing higher grocery bills, entire towns left adrift. These aren't just statistics. They're the real faces of an economic crisis. The ripple effect is devastating, hollowing out communities and leaving uncertainty in its wake. Local businesses dependent on Walmart's foot traffic are now struggling to survive. For many, the shutdown is not just a lost job, but a lost sense of security. The consequences of decisions made in distant capitals are now painfully real on Main Street. America's economic fabric is unraveling, one community at a time. Walmart's shutdown severed the central artery of American retail. Thousands of suppliers, from food giants to family farms, lost their biggest customer overnight. Warehouses overflow, production lines halt, and layoffs ripple through the supply chain. Trucking companies with dedicated Walmart fleets now face mass layoffs and idle trucks. The logistics industry, the economy's lifeblood, is in shock. Food deserts have multiplied, with millions losing access to affordable groceries. Panic buying strains remaining grocery chains, exposing the fragility of just-in-time supply models. The system was built for efficiency, not resilience. There was no backup plan for a failure this big. The immediate challenge, ensuring access to food and medicine. The long-term challenge, rebuilding a more resilient, decentralized supply chain. Walmart's closure sent shockwaves through Wall Street. The Dow plunged 2,000 points in an hour. Walmart's stock became worthless, and panic spread to suppliers, landlords, and logistics firms. Consumer spending, 70% of US GDP, took a massive hit. Economists now agree, a deep recession is certain. The psychological blow to consumer confidence is as damaging as the job losses. For every Walmart job lost, at least one more in related industries disappears. Over 3 million Americans face unemployment. As families slash spending, a vicious downward cycle begins. Global investors are rattled. The collapse of America's largest retailer reveals new political and economic risks. The interconnected global economy, once a source of strength, now looks dangerously fragile. The world is watching. Can the US absorb this blow, or is a larger downturn coming? The crisis is a warning. Efficiency without resilience can lead to systemic collapse. The American economy faces its greatest test in a generation. In Washington, the shutdown has ignited a political firestorm. Critics blame the administration's aggressive tariffs for triggering Walmart's collapse, calling it a predictable disaster. Dr. Evelyn Reed of Brookings. Tariffs are a blunt tool. The old model was flawed, but there was no plan for what came next. This camp argues you can't sever ties with China without massive disruption. Walmart is Exhibit A. Others see the crisis as a painful but necessary correction. Mark Kovich of the Hudson Institute. Our trade model with China was unsustainable. The shutdown is a symptom, not the disease. They argue it's time to rebuild domestic production and resilient supply chains, even if it means short-term pain. Supporters of this view blame Walmart's own choices and see the crisis as a wake-up call to end dependency on foreign manufacturing. The debate rages, but for millions affected, political finger-pointing offers little comfort. The nation is left to choose between rebuilding what was lost or forging a new path. The stakes could not be higher. The empty Walmart stores stand as a monument to a broken system. This crisis forces America to reflect on the fragility of its hyper-efficient, globalized economy. The pursuit of the lowest price created catastrophic vulnerabilities. The immediate need, a unified response to ensure food, medicine, and support for millions out of work. Emergency resources must fill the gaps in food deserts and streamline aid to families. Looking ahead, the challenge is to rebuild a more resilient, equitable economy, one that values community stability alongside efficiency. This is a chance to diversify supply chains, invest in domestic manufacturing, and support local businesses. The story of Walmart's shutdown is a cautionary tale, but also a catalyst for renewal. America has faced profound challenges before and emerged stronger. The empty shelves offer a clean slate, a chance to build a more secure future for all.